What's your Sean? Good question. What's your views on trading for a prop firm? It used to be good 10 years ago. No, it used to be good 20 to 15 years ago. Not now. In fact, prop firms pretty much are a dying breed. They don't really exist anymore. Not new ones. All you have left with prop firms are ones that have were established 5 to 15 years ago and they're still running, but it's a dying breed. Go back to the old days of like hedge funds and stuff. It used to be a 2 and 20. So the whole market, like if you were to look at a typical mutual fund or hedge fund, etc., the terms were 2 and 20. So if you're an investor, they would charge you a 2% AUM fee. So it's called an expense ratio. So if you put in, so you'd be charged 2% of your assets under management every single year, which is really high, and then the hedge fund would take 20% of whatever profits it makes. But obviously with any industry that gets more efficient and more competitive over time, it just gets whittled down. So now this is where BlackRock and Vanguard came in and just destroyed that whole scene, because you can get basically there's some funds that take 0% of the uplift and just charge you like 0.25% expense ratio. So you put your money with them, you're only going to be paying 0.25%, or let's say 0.25 to 0.5% AUM expense ratio. They don't take any of the upside, and all they do is they just dump you into some sort of tracker fund or I don't know, the S&P 500. So literally the reason they can charge so low is because all they're doing is just taking your money and just put it in the S&P 500. It's just an easier way of tracking the market. And therefore, when this whole shift happened, guess what happened to prop firms? They all died, because how does a prop firm make money? So a prop firm is basically some bloke, normally a bloke, with a bunch of money, I don't know, let's say 100 million, that wants to basically get an ROI. And so they'll go, right, I'm going to set up a trading firm. They'll buy some swanky office in London to attract all the best talent. That's going to cost them, I don't know, $1 million a year in rent and stuff like that. Then they have to pay a lot of money to traders to basically, they'll have a trading floor. Oh, it's not really a floor, it's basically an office with shitloads of desks and computers. And they'll have like 20 traders. And and on top of them you'll have a trading manager that sat alongside a risk manager. In fact, no, the risk manager sits on top actually. And basically everyone will have a pot of money. If you're shit, you'll be out in the first month or 3, and like the churn rate is like 90%. And the terms of being a trader for a prop firm, it's not good anymore. So by the way, I was approached twice. So one to be a trader for a prop firm, and the other time someone wanted me to be this position. They wanted me to run a prop firm for them and be the head HT, the head trader. And I mean, as that head trader, he was offering me 250k salary with, I forgot the upside. There wasn't a percentage upside to overall base. I think it was something like the FTSE 100 would be the base, and then any delta on top of that base, I would get a percentage slice of that. I can't remember the numbers, but I turned it down because yes, a 250k salary sounds great, but you hopefully you can understand as being an RT, it's not. It's yes, making money is great, but you have to look at lifestyle costs and as well as everything else. So if you just go to UK salary calculator and you work out, what is the 250k salary, what would I actually take home every month? Obviously the rates have changed a lot, but when a 250k salary, which is basically 20 something grand a month, 21 grand a month, you're only taking home 12 grand a month. You are bleeding up the yin yang through tax. That would immediately, and also it would screw you over in terms of your CGT as well. So yes, you're paying 45% additional rate tax, but then your CGT also goes up as well. So yeah, it sounds fancy, but it also meant I'd have to commute into London every single day. And if you're going to be in a prop firm, you need to be in the desk or at your desk at 0650, and you'll leave at like 1900. So that also means for those office hours, you've got to live in London. I can't do that commuting from Norwich to London. I'd have to leave home at like 3:30 every morning and then get home at like 10 o'clock at night. It just wouldn't, I wasn't prepared to uproot my whole life to London for that. So I said no. And one last thing, to be the actual prop firm trader, I think is a con in itself. So here is the con, and I'll show you the con, and then you'll be able to highlight all of the derivatives sort of spin-off scams and become a funded trader type thing. Because for all of time, what would happen is that you'd see an advert, and it's like, does your job suck? Become a trader, be Billy Big Balls in London, and blah blah blah. And so first of all, you'd have to pay something like $5,000 to do what they would call a residential course, and it'll be like a 1 week course. And so you have to pay to do this 1 week trading course, and there is a pass fail type thing. So basically you have to go to London for a week. They'll ram as much knowledge in you as possible and test you up the yin yang. So the training is actually very good, but then something like 80% will fail. So you could pay to do this whole week thing, and then actually they'll be like, nah. So only 20% go through to the monitoring stages. So the monitoring stage is normally 6 months. And in that time, you have to fund yourself. So you have to pay for your seat for 6 months. So what they'll do, and by the way, paying for your seat is basically $2,500 a month. So you have to pay for your Bloomberg terminal and layer 2 access, because it normally stocks. And layer 2. Sorry?
This is a good business model already.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yes, it is. And this is where the whole funded trader type bollocks basically originated from, because prop firms don't make any money really these days. So so you have to pay them $2,500 a month for at least 6 months, or until you get booted out. And they'll put you on some pathetic pot. They'll give you like $50,000. And by the way, your percentage, and you'll have some sort of percentage fee with that, but it's nowhere near enough that you can cover your $2,500. So you have to be prepared to bleed $2,500 a month for 6 months, plus London living costs, London costs. So God knows what that is. Another $2,500 a month at least. So let's call it $5,000 a month really, just to see if you have what it takes. And if you're lucky enough not to get booted out, then after 6 months, actually they then do up the pot. I think depending on which firms you work at, they may put you on 250 to 500k pot to play with. But you will be hamstrung, because remember, you have a bunch of traders, head trader, risk trader, or risk manager. So this person, the head trader, will be up your ass on like every minute of the day, or every hour, or every trade you place. And so you won't be able to risk much more than whatever. So even though you've got a much bigger pot, I think you'll barely be able to make your $5,000 a month in actual costs. So really the conclusion I came to is, do I have spare money and the will to spend $5,000 a month for, let's say, a year? Because really, if you can last a year, that's when they start giving you $1 million plus. And that's when being a prop trader actually works. I know very few prop traders. Very few. And one of them has disappeared because he got home invaded by 4 masked gunmen in 2017. But yeah, anyway, so long story short, mate, don't bother. Just don't bother. So what's happening now, so the derivative spin-off from that is that you have these funds that, or these companies, these Facebook adverts are going, become a funded trader. Funded trader, and it is a scam. Okay, I will not fanny around on that point. It is a scam. Because what they do is they go, right, you can pay an amount of money. They'll have a bunch of options. You'll pay them, I don't know, anywhere like 100 quid for this option, 300 quid, or I don't know, 1,000 for whatever. And depending on how much you pay, depends on what sort of simulated pot they give you. But you'll have to make something like a 10% ROI in the per month, or something stupid like that, or 5% a month, to pass the qualification. And if you can, and what it means when you really break it down, in order to hit their sort of threshold goals, you basically have to place crazy trades with crazy risk management. And so, yeah, it is a scam. The whole business model is there just for these chunks of money to come in. You will not get a big chunk of actual money, and some of them are even quite audacious, where they go, oh look, you've passed your trial phase, here is 100 grand. So you're sat there thinking you're trading £100,000 of real money, but guess what? That 100k doesn't exist. You're trading it on their brokerage system, right? Now, guess who owns that brokerage system? They probably freaking own that brokerage system, which is based out probably in the Seychelles or BVI, etc. And they can manipulate the API feeds. So, it's actually fake dummy money. You're not actually trading anything, and most traders, like 99.99% of these traders, won't pass, these filtering threshold, or requirements.
I added it in the chat.
Let's see what was Meg's put.
One of them.
Oh, here we go. Oh yeah, FTMO. They've been going for ages. So what have they got? Step 1 challenge, 4 days, maximum daily loss, profit target. Jesus, from what pot though? So from a 10k pot. So here we go. So it's asking. So with the 10k pot, you have to make 10% in 4 at minimum trading days. That's 4. What's the maximum?
Trading periods
unlimited.
unlimited.
Okay,
So
fair enough. So
it's even at 140,000, it's also still the step one. The first part of it's also 10% max profit.
Okay, yeah. So maximum daily loss is 500 quid divided by 10,000. So it's a 5%. Jesus, yeah. You really don't want to be doing a 5% loss on a day. They are all changing. They're all getting slightly, lower. Or actually, this whole FCA new legislation thing, they're there to take out MLMs, funded trading firms, and ICOs, or the illegal promotion of them, at least. And any proper case study, hey, this person's got £1 million trading account. It's either a friend or a stooge, in my opinion, or it's just fake money. There was a guy, I can't remember the name. There was this YouTuber who was supposedly a multi-million-pound trader, blah blah blah. What he did, he got loads of followers because he was like, hey, look at me place these trades, and I've got $1 million in my account or whatever. But the thing is, he set up his, and by the way, there is a white labeling brokerage stuff. So there are websites out there where you can set up your own FX trading brokerage in British Virgin Islands, and you own it. And so you can control basically the back end. But also, and I don't know anything about FTMO, I guarantee, let's say it's a legit one. Let's say it's not an open, just a crazy scam. And let's say they are genuinely trying to find people who are good traders, and they're just using all of these things as an incentive to try and find, the 1 in 10,000 people that could actually do it all right. Their business model is not in giving you money to trade. Their business model is the brokerage. Because with all these gates, these limits that you have to hit over a certain period of time or whatever, it encourages you to go on the lower time frames and use high risk. So you'll be doing 1 to 5% max risk per trade. You'll be dicking around on the 1 hour chart, or they know that the public will dick around on the 5-minute and 15-minute chart. And guess what? Their brokerage, where you are trading through, they are generating a lot of money. That's where they make all their money. Greg Secker, he makes all of his money not from his trading education company. He makes all his money from his brokerage.
So it's not a scam, but it's misleading.
Well, there's two. You can either be. There are some firms, I don't know of any, that will probably try and do this legitimately, but they'll make their money over here. It's just their business model, which is scammy. But there will be lots of funded trader firms which are just out and out scams.